scaled his brand to unimaginable heights in a very short time. Ashwin Mochrela is the founder of the Thickshake Factory. He's also the Forbes 30 under 30 Asia recipient, under the 30 under 30 category. He founded this company with his brother, Yeshwanath Nag, who is also the co-founder for the company. Incepted in December 2013 in Hyderabad with a single store bootstrapped with personal loan, the Thickshake Factory has now grown to 130 stores by 2020, and has also been recognized as one of the fastest QSR chains in India. Thank you so much, Ashwin, for being with us. We'd love to hear your thoughts on the opportunities that lie ahead for Cloud Kitchen and how you are also planning to, of course, grow your Cloud Kitchen operations. Over to you, Ashwin.
Thank you so much, Nikunj, for such a warm welcome. And thank you, Ashish, for considering for me to be on this panel today. I've joined a little earlier and I've seen the talks given by Deepak and Samrat, and both of them have actually given out very good insights about how to tackle with all the things that are happening around currently during COVID in the F&B industry. So I just thought this topic about demystifying cloud kitchens, we can keep this a little interactive, because I think most of the things which are common to Cloud Kitchen is what has already been discussed by all the other participants. So I would just like to take you through a few slides of the basic demystifying the Cloud Kitchen, of what exactly it means. And then I would like to open up questions at the earliest, so that we can keep it more interactive and answer a lot of questions, because I'm sure a lot of people might be having a lot of intriguing insights after a lot of discussions that have happened. So if you will allow me, I will just share you my screen. I hope everyone can see my screen. Nikunj, can you please confirm that so that I can move forward?
Yes, we can see your screen.
Great. So first, I would like to talk about our brand, the Thickshake Factory. We founded this in 2013. Me and my brother Yashwant have founded this brand together. The idea was to create a category which was non-existent back then, because we saw the gap in the Indian market, where we thought premium shakes deserve to be a category in itself, and we wanted to try to be the category creators for it. And that's when we incepted the company almost close to 7 years ago. And we've also done a lot of franchising, because we have a mix of all the models of outlets. So we are one of the pioneers in QSR franchising as well. And then we have also built this company in such a way that we have end-to-end supply chain control. So just to simplify that, the major raw material that goes into our shakes, which is the ice creams, we manufacture them ourselves in order to have end-to-end control over the quality, as well as leverage economies of scale in order to manage our P&L better and the cost, unit costing better. Currently, we have around 130 outlets spread across 30 cities, and then we've got an outlet in the United States as well. And let me just start off with the topic of what exactly is a cloud kitchen. I think it's a very common buzzword right now. Everybody's talking about, I understand, but it's a very simple thing to understand. All it is just a functional kitchen, which is usually in every restaurant or every cafe or every coffee shop or anything like that. So it's just a functional kitchen, which is functional enough for you to provide whatever customers across whatever orders the customers are placing across to the table. And the only difference here is the orders are 100% generated online, and there is no customer access. So this is what typically makes a cloud kitchen, where it is having a functional kitchen where you're able to generate or make the orders, but there are no customers who are walking in, and there is no customer access. And at the same time, the orders are currently being generated online. So this is in a nutshell. So what are the advantages of having a cloud kitchen? Because I'm sure everybody understands, just give me a second. Yeah, everybody understands that cloud kitchen is the future, especially during COVID. I think that's what is being, it's being touted as. But why is it? If you're looking at the advantages, your investment. So if you're an F&B entrepreneur and if you want to invest in starting a business, the first and foremost thing that you'll have to go through is your capex, which is your investment. And usually the investment is pretty high because of all the nice fancy interiors that you'll have to do to give a very nice ambience to your customers. But here in a cloud kitchen, you don't have to spend on interiors, and all you have to do is spend on a very hygienically and functional kitchen, which can just create the orders. And also you have very low operating costs. And when I mean to say operating costs, you're not looking at 1,500, 2,000 square feet of spaces to serve your menu to the customers. Instead, you're having a 300 or a 500 square feet space where the rentals are much lower. You also do not have to be on the ground floor in a main road on a high street, which will shoot up the rentals even higher. So the advantage of having a cloud kitchen is you can choose any place on the second floor, on the fourth floor, as long as a delivery boy is able to access that kitchen and you're able to service through it. And also one more way in which your operational expenses will be low, because you don't have customer service personnel. So there is no need for hiring expensive hotel management people or customer service personnel who will actually take care of the customers, and usually which adds to the cost when you're looking at it from the restaurant's P&L point of view. The other thing is it's quite easy to manage a cloud kitchen because almost all the information is already out there, because you're getting your orders from Swiggy or Zomato or any of these aggregators. They also provide you with a dashboard which directly shows you what is the kind of sales orders that you're getting, how many of them have been in stock. You'll know your inventory, you'll know your marketing spend, you'll know what is the kind of marketing you're doing on the app and what is the kind of returns that you're making. You know what are the discounts that you're offering, you know what products are moving, what are not moving. So you have all these advantages directly from the dashboard. But I'm sure once the scale of the company is being built, you'll have to focus on individual outlet level reporting, for which definitely you would need to have, as Deepak was suggesting, you definitely need to invest in a very good ERP kind of solution or a software which will take care of all your needs. And one more advantage is it's quite easy for you to market on Swiggy and Zomato as well, because customers are ordering directly from the two apps, and all you have to do is try to increase your visibility, or you'll have to purchase some clicks, or you'll have to give out some offers, or I don't know, you'll try to maximize your serviceability. So these are all the easy ways in which you can try to increase your orders. So, these are all the advantages that a cloud kitchen has. But what are the disadvantages? Because I'm sure there will be disadvantages as well. So one major disadvantage is that the 100% of your orders that you're generating are dependent on the online aggregators, which can be a challenge if you're looking at trying to get control over what communication needs to go to your customers. Because you don't have the phone numbers or the data of the customer, you might not be able to reach them out. So as Samrat was saying earlier, even if you're fallen down to 30% from the 100%, for you to get back the 70%, you still need to speak to your customers, but which is very difficult when you're going through the same old marketing routine on the aggregator apps. The other disadvantage for the entire F&B is that the higher aggregator margins that they are currently having. And this is something which will definitely impact the P&L, because what I'm trying to tell about the disadvantages of a cloud kitchen is that the managing of a P&L of a cloud kitchen is very, very, very difficult compared to managing a regular restaurant, because by default, every order comes with a high aggregator margin, and that is an added cost compared to previously where you used to have a store and then customers used to walk in. And also the cost of generating your order is pretty high, and then you've got difficulty to manage the profitable P&L because of all the complications which will come out of a lot of variables which are not exactly understood by a lot of people in detail. So I would like to take you guys through an item level breakdown of a P&L. Say, for example, an item costing 100 rupees is currently being sold on Swiggy or Zomato or any other online aggregator platform. You have some direct costs to it, where you're giving a 15% discount, which is usually the trend on the apps, because there are a lot of people out in the market who are already giving discounts. So you might feel that because they're giving, even I'll have to give discount because I might be losing out on certain customers. So then you end up giving a 10-15% of discount. At the same time, you also have your COGS, which is your cost of goods sold. And right now, due to COVID, also there is a sudden increase in the overall cost of your COGS, even though you might have had a lesser percentage before. Right now, the percentage is slightly higher because of the lesser demand, and the scales have fallen and all these things. And at the same time, we've also got high commission plus taxes and all, which will round off to approximately 25%. So if you're looking at what is the overall percentage that has gone out, you're looking at 15% discount, 25% of commission, and 40% of COGS. Is almost 75% of your overall sale has gone in just these direct costs. So your gross profit is left with a 25%, and out of this, you're supposed to cover all your other overheads. And typically, your rent, power, water, and cam could be somewhere between 10 to 25% of your sale, and you've got a store salary of around 10 to 15% again if you're managing it well by optimizing the number of manpower that you will have at all your outlets. And I'm not even beginning to talk about what you're spending on marketing apart from the promotional discount that you've given. So we're not talking about the social media marketing, we're not talking about the digital marketing, we're not talking about the lead generation. So considering all that, your EBITDA at the end of the day is very minimal when you're looking at how an item typically works through the P&L when you're operating out of a cloud kitchen, where the assumption is 100% of your orders are coming from an online aggregator. So, what do we do about this? So, there are a few things that we need to focus on. I think one of the first thing that is branding of yourself. I mean, you need to brand yourself well in your customers' minds in such a way that they would want to come to you because of the product or because of the experience that you provide them, and not because of the discount. Because of course, I understand that there are a lot of people who would want to avail a discount at any point of time, but if the food is not good, they would still never order twice from the same place, even if it's offering 100% discount. So I think we need to focus on, as a restaurant fraternity, we need to focus on product quality and safety and hygiene standards at this point of time, because customers are very slowly coming out of the confusion of whether to have food outside during pandemic or not. And there have not been any cases of any COVID passing through food so far anywhere across the world. So it is a very safe thing for food delivery to happen, as long as the entire chain of order being created, being prepared, being delivered, the entire thing is following some sort of hygiene practice. So we see all these contactless deliveries and purchases that are happening right now, which will all add to the safety and the hygiene aspect that a customer perceives. Then you need to focus on what the customer is and what their needs are. You of course have to focus on your packaging. Your food cost should be low, as we discussed before. Your discount should be low. You should have high margin products in your menu mix. You should be very clear about what your positioning is and who you are actually targeting as your customer, because once you understand that, then you can optimize your marketing spend. Because if you don't understand your target audience, or if you don't understand what your brand's positioning is, you might tend to spend a lot of money and not get enough ROI. So considering all these things, it's actually better to have a few things in place so that you can um, work on maximizing a lot of things for your cloud kitchen. And one of the main things that I would like to focus on is maximizing your revenue per square foot. And you of course need to work with a motivated team, and you also need to take care of your operational metrics. So one basic, I mean, you can just go through all the things that I've written down, but one major thing that I would like to tell is the whole uh, aspect of managing a restaurant or a kitchen has changed completely due to the increase of online sales, because customers have focused on convenience. Of course, people would want to order things online, but previously, what it took to for someone to be successful at a restaurant, at an F&B in the F&B field, is that they had to be very good with the product, and they need to keep doing it consistently. But right now, because of all these technology players coming into picture, and where the costs are initially high and then they cut down the costs, it all becomes a very smart game that you play around with managing your profit and loss statement for your individual store. If you have a chain, you'll have to focus on the unit P&L of every individual store, or as a chain, you'll have to focus on everything. But even if you're an individual cloud kitchen, you need to understand that just because you're going cloud doesn't mean higher returns. doesn't mean the risk is low, doesn't mean that you're going to get more orders, doesn't mean that you're going to be profitable, because there are still a lot of things that you will have to focus on in order to achieve that stage where you have control over all these things that we're talking about in your P&L, and you're making sure that you're being as profitable as possible, because it's a very, very, very thin margin game. So this is what I would like to just summarize as what exactly it is about handling Cloud Kitchen, or the entire thing about what exactly goes into the demystifying of Cloud Kitchens. I would like to open this thing for questions. If anybody has any questions,
Yeah.
I would really love to answer it, because I
Awesome.
think all the details have already been discussed by a lot of people in the panels before me.
Uh, Hey Ashwin, that was a superb one, and thanks for breaking that down. I think one comment I will definitely give is that that 5 to minus 15% margins is something which is extremely not understood or extremely underrated as a stat.
Right.
Everywhere, almost everywhere, I've seen some of the most seasoned restaurateurs scratching their head, wondering that is it really 5%, or am I just getting it wrong somewhere? I can help probably run the Q&A. We can see a lot of questions. Uh, so Smriti Kana Sen Gupta, she's asking, how discount playing a role for the cloud kitchen in this present situation? I think that's something which even I wonder, that are the discounts out, given that customers are planning. On one side, I see that customers are planning to pay or are open to pay a premium on hygiene, security, safety, or higher level of trust. But then are the discounts still in with the aggregators specifically, or not?
So Ashish, I think there's something that is very close to the brand and its customers. So the relationship between the brand and the customers, if it is something very specific to quality, then discount is a very small, factor which would add more weight to it. Say, for example, you're a discounting brand. There's nothing wrong with being a discounting brand as well. But if you're, say, for example, you're a biryani player, there's not too much of differentiation that you can do within biryani. So usually it's a number game, and usually a lot of people end up playing around with the discounts just to undercut the competition, which is not something anyone can avoid. Even at this point of time, once we open the apps, I can see a lot of people giving out discounts. I mean, I just want people to be aware of how it is actually reflecting in the P&L before that is done, because what's happening here is a customer is getting used to buying a biryani for, say, 100 rupees, but the same guy might be spending 20 rupees from his own pocket to serve that biryani to the customer.
Yeah.
This is okay as long as you're funded through, I don't know, if you're funded and if you're looking for evaluation, and if your investors only care about your revenues, then okay. But I think there should be a lot of focus on profitability rather than just focusing on the revenues. But at the same time, as I mentioned in my previous slides, it is not something that you have too much of control on. You deciding not to give discounting or whether to continue with discounting also is not such a simple thing to say yes or no to, because the cost of you getting your customer back is very high when you don't have control of your customers. So I think that's something which needs to be focused on by anybody who's seriously interested in being a cloud kitchen player, because you'll have to be focused on each and every aspect of these things before you decide to give out a 50% off or a buy one get one, or I don't know what. But just make sure that you're running your P&L, and what you're doing is a conscious call. It's okay that you're burning 50 rupees to get a customer, but at least make sure that you're understanding that you're burning 50 rupees to get a customer, because without knowing that, if you're doing it, then it's an endless hole that you'll be sucked into, and you'll lose a lot of money before you realize what's happening around you.
Absolutely. I think I will also add one thing. I think this whole concept of being funded and being able to burn is also a little, misunderstood. I believe that if you're selling a biryani for $100, you cannot lose money on it. At the economic level, right? You can spend your money in burning. You can burn your money probably in creating infrastructure. Probably you can invest in something today which is going to have a long tail or which is going to keep giving you value. Probably you can invest in your branding. You can invest in your customer acquisition. You can probably pay Google or Instagram to probably acquire a customer, assuming that that customer is going to keep repeating the orders with you in future, and you will recover your marketing cost and marketing dollars on that. That is okay. But if you're losing any penny on the food which you are delivering, I think that's not going to run for long, even if you have a professional investor's money for sure.
Absolutely.
I
There
think,
are some couple of very interesting questions in the comment section.
yeah,
I'm just going through it. So there's one person who's asked here: would owning up logistics help control margins? So I'm assuming, Vishnu, that you're currently talking about your order delivery, because I understand that a lot of people. There's one more question here about how to how to mitigate the dependency on aggregators in the current almost monopolized aggregator market. So I think COVID has brought a lot of scope for a lot of people to reach out to their customers directly. And right now, there are a lot of technology solutions out there in the market where you're able to order, where your customers are able to order contactless through a QR code or through a web URL or through WhatsApp. There are multiple ways in which customers are now able to place an order for takeaway directly with the restaurant. And the logistics of that can either be in-house or it can be outsourced. So we've either got players like Dunzo and Ryder and all who are also tying up to make this delivery cost come low at this point of time for everybody who can't have their own delivery fee. But as Vishnu is saying, it depends again if you are able to manage the balance between the both of them. If you want to own up your logistics, just make sure that you have the plans in place to justify the cost that you'll incur to own up your logistics, which might have to be a lot of efforts on generating a lot of revenue.
I can
Yes,
also
Ashish.
I can also add one more point to it, Vishnu, and for everybody else. I think what I've seen is that restaurants who are having their own logistics and their own fleet of people delivering, it's not really about the cost. It's really about a little bit of extra control. So as Ashwin said, it has to be a hybrid model. So you may not depend on neither yours nor completely outside. I think I can tell you that some of the restaurants who are doing a large volume are actually depending on all the three. So they have direct connect with the logistics only players like Shadowfax, etc. They also have, they're working with, of course, Swiggy and Zomato for their force, but they also keep their own. And when I quizzed one of them, so they actually made this comment. They said, no, I don't get any price advantage. In fact, in most cases, my own delivery people cost me a little more than probably what a logistics player will give me. But what I get control over is situations like if there is rains. Most of the logistics people, most of the aggregators will switch off their deliveries. If there are, peak orders, if there are orders which are beyond my radius of, servicing. So they said that, having our own logistics helps me give that extra, value to the customer, service to the customer, where my customer starts looking up to me in the times when everybody else is, going to stop, delivering for external factors. So
Very
I think
nice point, Ashish. Yes, I think if it is, for people who are just starting off, a hybrid of outsource plus in-house probably as a safety would be the best way forward. There's also a question here about what is the kind of investment one must plan to invest in a cloud kitchen. How does investment in manpower, kitchen equipment, and operations work out to be in a cloud kitchen? So just to add a comparison, if you want to set up a regular kitchen, a regular restaurant, it might cost you anywhere between 20 lakhs and upwards, because you'll have to spend basic on furniture and equipment and everything else. But the same kind of a cloud kitchen you might end up spending something less than 10 lakhs typically. So this could be the investment difference, but at the same time, you're also getting two different sources of revenue. So you will be getting revenues from the stores, which are walk-in plus the takeaway, and at the same time, you also have from the online aggregators. But when you choose a cloud kitchen, you're letting go of all your walk-in revenues, and you're focused on 100% of the online revenues that you generated.
I want to add one more point to that, rather as a question to you. I think I see a lot of confusion between cloud kitchen looks like a cheaper option, to start the business, while it is not. I think the difference is that in a restaurant, you do a lot of capital expenditure one time in interiors, in location, and being on the high street, etc., etc., and that continues to pay off, as you said, for walking. While on the cloud kitchen, you actually save on some of those costs, but isn't that as a high OPEX, high operational expense, business? I at times feel that in a cloud kitchen, I mean, in a fixed restaurant, your rent is at least fixed. Even if it is higher, it is fixed. After a point, you have hope, to make a lot of money, on the differential. While on a cloud kitchen, you continue to pay the aggregators a percentage, which actually is your customer acquisition cost. How do you look at it?
See, there are two other questions that I can add to what you've just asked. Someone asked me to elaborate on the 5 to minus 15% margins. I'll be adding that question to this as well. And at the same time, there's one more question about mitigating the dependency of the aggregators. So let me again, if I can share you the presentation again. I would like to I'd like to share you about the cost that goes into the P&L. Here, if you can see this, it's a very simple P&L that I've decided to put down because I was actually hoping that somebody would ask this, because there are a lot of things which are costs on a corporate level which are not at all taken into consideration here, because this is just an item level profitability. So here your focus should be on, if you want to maximize your bottom line at the end of the day, your profits that you're taking away, you will have to, from the start, if you're coming from, you'll have to obviously increase your sale. If you're getting 100 rupees today, you have to try and maximize the overall number of orders that you're getting here. And you'll have to reduce the discount that you're currently giving. So you'll have to have a very good product. You'll have to have a very good connect with the customers and offer a very good customer experience if you really want them to continue ordering from you. Your COGS have to be optimized in such a way that it is definitely not 40 and it is much lower than that. And this is something that you can do by understanding what your POS data is telling you. What are your products which are actually selling and what are your products which are not selling? I've seen Ashish ask this question, but 80% of your revenue is coming from 20% of the products. I think that's true across a lot of chains. So there are just 20% of your products which almost contribute to 80% of your revenues. And you might want to reconsider whether you have high margin items there or whether you have low margin items there. So if you're able to somehow create a hero product or create a very nice fast moving product out of a very high margin, which the customer sees value for and which you also see a value for, I think that should be the focus on your entire menu re-engineering part of reducing your COGS. And to tackle the commission part, as Ashish, you were asking, the 25% is on the 100 rupees because the 100 rupees is being generated from the same channel. So now if you are again talking about the new technologies which have come where you're ordering through contactless, where you're having your own order generating platforms, the cost of acquiring your customer through your digital marketing spends, plus the cost of your social media where your branding is reaching out to your customers, plus the cost of delivering that particular order either through a third-party logistics player or through your own logistics fleet. So all these plus the promotions or the discounts or the trade discounts or whatever you're actually giving out there, all of them have to be less than your 25%. In case you're attempting to do something like that, if you're saying, I want to set up my own online generating platform, order generating platform, your overall cost of fulfilling the order, including the cost of acquiring your customer, should be less than 25% for it to make sense over you getting this thing. Because the cost of you doing that more than 30% adds to a lot of OPEX, as Ashish, you were asking. And that is a trade-off that you'll have to understand if you're able to stay in this game or not. Because as I mentioned earlier, it is not more about how well you're making the food again and again and again, but it is right now understanding what the customer wants and understanding every single line of your P&L and trying to get the best value out of it. So you've got rentals where you can come down. I think there's someone who asked in the question section as well, if you've considered multiple brands. So there are players who have considered multiple brands, and we also have experimented a little bit on that. So if you would ideally like to do that, then you might even reduce your other overheads split across multiple brands. So I think when you fit all these things together by understanding, so it's an ongoing activity. It's not something which is done one time. It's a continuous learning process because the customers are changing every day and the pulse is changing every day. Their wants are changing every day. The market is changing every day. The competition is changing every day. So you yourself also have to change every day in order to be very relevant to the customers and try to drive your traction as much as possible. And at the same time, having a very good control of your overall P&L in order to uh, do justice to your time and effort that you're putting into your investment.
Ashwin, you also said that you guys are also doing, this multiple brands, right? And I see this question a lot of times, and I personally don't think that there is any right answer to that. But in your perspective, doing multiple brands just because you have one kitchen and suddenly you don't have a certain board or a certain single brand, is that a good strategy, or people who are trying to think about it, uh, is it just a strategy to maximize the value of that kitchen so that you can have some economy of scale, or there is more to this? Is there more merit to having multiple brands? And I also see certain cloud kitchen players who are sticking to one brand, and in fact they're maximizing their order volumes, from there. Which strategy do you side with, or can you do pros and cons for both?
I would not want to side with anything. I would definitely want to speak about the pros and cons, because every individual brand also can focus on cloud kitchen expansion for themselves. Because you will definitely lose your focus if you're talking about a different brand. So unless you're prepared with everything about what it takes to create a different brand, unless you are mentally prepared for it and financially and team wise also, unless you're prepared for it, I don't think that should be something that you should be focusing on. Because creating brand is not something which is a very simple thing to do. It involves a lot of intricacies, right from the way your font of the logo is till your colors and the packaging and why your name, what you're named, and what you're serving. There are a lot of things that you will have to focus on if you're creating a brand. But it's not something to take it very lightly. But having said that, if anybody still would want to diversify their focus from where they are to adding more product lines to their product portfolio, what I would say is try to do things where you don't have to, because this is not definitely not a time to take a lot of risks. I think Mr. Deepak has also mentioned that at this point of time. But as long as you're able to do something without changing your current way of handling things too much, then I think that's something worth investing your time and effort in. Because say for example, we are a shake player, and because we have ice creams in our portfolio, tomorrow if you're launching our ice creams, it is not too much of a big task or a big change within the company if I would have to sell out ice creams. But if I have to sell a completely different food item altogether, then I'll have to be prepared for whatever needs to be handled that way. So I would definitely leave it to the individual to decide what is it that they want to do and what is their focus. They need to be very clear on what their focus is so that they can work and pass through this pandemic, and survive through it.
Awesome. Ashwin, my last question for
Sure.
this session, and although I personally stay away from anything which looks biased, and I
Mhm.
rarely talk about technology, on such forums, because I'm not too sure how to be unbiased while talking about it. But one question, and this popped up because I saw. Your content, you're very, very number driven. You're very, you're on your presentation, you have your P&L structure, or rather the unit economics figured out on the percentages. As a technologist, I can tell you that the restaurant industry historically has not been setting out a lot of budget for technology, and I'm talking about, let's say, last 8.5 years of my experience, and that has continuously changed. I think I can clearly see 2015, 16 one milestone, and probably 19 as another one. I'm sure I'll look back next year and will feel that COVID was like probably it just tilted the thing fully. What do you think? How's the allocation of technology in your overall budget, in your overall planning has changed, if it has? Or rather, how will you, at what place will you put technology investment in the cloud kitchen space specifically? Do you have any thoughts or anything about that? This question, I will say, irrespective of Posist, how do you look at technology as a player, in your ecosystem to build and run and do this business right?
Right. I'll also try to give you my most unbiased answer for what you asked. Um, so let me put it this way. I mean, everyone has seen the unit level P&L, and for everyone, the relevance and the importance will be quite different, because for a player who has one brand and one cloud kitchen, um, for him his priorities will be different. If somebody has 10 cloud kitchens and one brand, they've got different priorities, and you've got 100, you've got different priorities altogether, and you've got 100 plus you've got multiple brands. If you're thinking about it, then your priorities will change. But I would again like to point out to the P&L, because at the end of the day, if the numbers don't lie, and at the end of the day, if you would like to spend or allocate some budget to something, it has to make sense with what we're doing, and how best we can leverage that. So as you've seen the margins, you will definitely have to decide to invest in technology which will solve your problems. So I think first, a lot of people need to understand what the problems are, because what I've shown in the PNL, I've actually interacted with a lot of people who still don't understand the entire breakup of the PNL. So they think that, okay, we can spend. So it might be a thing that, okay, I will not spend at all, or they might say it's okay, whatever it is, even if it is 50,000 rupees a month, I'll pay. And there might be people who might be saying that because they might not understand what their unit economics are. So I think you'll have to look at unit level economics, even if you're having multiple outlets. I would probably want to talk about how each and every outlet is profitable or not, and how much each outlet can actually contribute towards the technology part of it, because what are all the corporate costs obviously have to be split across individual outlets. So I think first and foremost, you'll have to choose what software and technology actually helps you, because you cannot compromise on that. You will definitely have to understand what your problems are and choose a POS partner who can, or POS partner or any technology partner who can solve all the problems that you're looking for, because that's the whole point of having a technology in place, because it is reducing your human effort, it is reducing a lot of things. You can invest in your finance, you can invest in your POS, you can invest in your online integration with any of the technology partners. You can look at reconciliation, you can look at outlet level P&L. So there are a lot of requirements that you might be having based on who you are, at what scale of your business that you're currently handling. And you yourself know your corporate level P&L, and you'll know what is the kind of money that you can spend for a good technology. But first of all, you need to understand what the good technology is. And then once you understand that, of course, you need to then decide how much of my margins can I cut down in order to invest this, which is going to save me a lot of time and resources down the line. So if that is well thought out of, then I think it becomes easy to take a call on